The air in Mumbai on that Wednesday evening, November 26, 2008, was warm and thick with the promise of a quiet night. The financial capital of India, a city that never sleeps, was easing into its rhythm. Inside the colossal Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, the crystal chandeliers shimmered. Guests were finishing their dinners. Staff were preparing for the final hours of service. Everything was routine. Everything was perfect. And then the silence shattered. It did not begin with a warning. It began with explosions, sharp and tearing, ripping through CST station, followed by the terrifying staccato chatter of automatic weapon fire echoing down narrow streets and across the bay. 10 men, barely out of their teens, highly trained and fueled by a cold, singular purpose, had infiltrated the city. They were ghosts appearing in multiple locations simultaneously. They carried backpacks full of ammunition and the chilling instructions to create maximum carnage and hold their ground. But the real horror, the 60-hour crucible that would define a generation of fear, settled firmly on two landmarks: the Taj and the trident Nariman Point. These luxury hotels, symbols of Indian progress and hospitality, were instantly transformed into sealed, screaming battlegrounds. When the terrorists entered the Taj, they did not storm it like a typical raid. They slipped in. They moved with a chilling efficiency that spoke volumes about their planning. They knew the floor plans. They had mapped the service corridors, the banqueting halls, and the secret stairwells. This was not random violence. This was a siege operation. The first sound inside the lobby was the wet, concussive thump of grenades, instantly followed by relentless bursts of AK-47 fire. Smoke, acrid and blinding, poured through the marble halls. The beautiful lobby became a killing field. The enemy moved swiftly upwards, establishing command positions on the upper floors, herding terrified guests and staff into what they believed would be their final moments. Imagine the absolute dread. You are trapped within walls designed for comfort, now serving as your prison. The electricity flickers and dies, plunging expensive suites into darkness, illuminated only by distant pulsing flames and the muzzle flash of the attackers' weapons. On the 6th floor, a family huddles in a locked closet. The only sound they hear is their frantic, shallow breathing and the cold footsteps of their executioners patrolling the hallway just feet away. They wait, not for rescue, but for the silence that means the terror has passed, or the loud, brutal knock that means it has found them. The minutes stretch into an eternity. The terrorists were not just holding hostages. They were waging psychological warfare. They were communicating with their handlers across the Arabian Sea, broadcasting their atrocities for the world to hear. The chilling calm in their voices, often audible to the hostages they held captive, was perhaps the worst trauma of all. One of the defining narratives of those terrifying hours was the extraordinary courage of the hotel staff. They refused to run. They used their intimate knowledge of the hotel's labyrinthine structure to guide dozens of guests to safety. Chefs barricaded kitchen doors. Stewards created makeshift emergency exits. One manager, fully aware of the danger, repeatedly went back into the line of fire to check on trapped guests. Their duty became a shield against absolute darkness. They put the safety of others above their own survival, a selfless act of defiance in the face of pure evil. Outside, Mumbai was paralyzed. The initial police response was brave, but overwhelmed. They were equipped for crime, not for coordinated urban warfare. The city waited, its breath caught in its throat, for the arrival of India's elite counter-terrorism force, the National Security Guard. The NSG response, codenamed Operation Black Tornado, was agonizingly slow to mobilize and arrive, traveling hundreds of miles to reach the battlefield. When they finally descended upon the hotels, the fight was already a tactical nightmare. The terrorists had the high ground and knew the terrain better than the rescuers. The siege inside the hotels was no clean firefight. It was a methodical, painstaking, floor-by-floor, room-by-room clearance. The NSG commandos moved through darkness and smoke, facing booby traps and the constant threat of ambush. Every door they breached was a gamble, every corner turned, a potential execution. The fighting raged for 60 hours. The sound of sustained gunfire and tactical explosions ripped through the luxurious facade of the Taj. Fires, started by the attackers, engulfed the iconic dome and the upper floors, sending plumes of thick black smoke into the Mumbai sky, a visual testament to the desecration taking place below. The scene inside the banquet halls after the fighting stopped defied comprehension. Shattered glass covered every surface. Bullet holes scarred the intricate carvings on the walls. Blood soaked the expensive carpets. It was a silent testament to the brutal, drawn-out violence that had played out in what were supposed to be havens of peace. The standoff at the Trident Nariman Point was equally brutal, a quicker but no less bloody affair. The methodical clearance of that hotel revealed the cold intent of the attackers. They had come to kill and to die, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable suffering. When the final shots were fired, when the last terrorist fell silent, the city of Mumbai was changed forever. The 60-hour siege claimed the lives of over 160 innocent people, including many brave members of the security forces and the selfless staff who chose to protect others. The trauma of 26/11 remains deep. It taught the world that terror is no longer confined to military camps or distant battlefields. It can walk into a five-star hotel, into a train station, into a popular cafe, and turn paradise into purgatory in the blink of an eye. The cold operation was over, but the echo of those 60 hours, the terrifying sound of the gunfire in the darkened halls of Mumbai, still resonates. It is a haunting reminder of human vulnerability, and ultimately, the fierce, enduring spirit of resilience that refuses to be extinguished.